We end the note that the convention, they're fascists and Republicans, and how appropriate that we have a Republican on.
Not all Republicans are fascists, by the way.
Right, but you were upset, obviously, because they're shoving you one.
Yeah, it is a fascist tactic to stifle
why
dissent.
are you saying that it's a fascist tactic? You're blaming the Republicans.
Well, I would blame a Bush Republican.
You're at a Democrat fundraiser for Hillary Clinton, who's probably the biggest.
It's not supposed to be for. Oh, and I agree with you. I will not disagree on that point. That your contention, I agree with.
You know that the way they've set up all these delegates, and it's all been set up so Hillary does not have to spend any money in Florida, and she pretty much takes over without spending money to state of Florida.
And let me just address that. And that was orchestrated by the Republicans in the legislature, along with the Democrats in the legislature. Now, why would they do
Only
that?
one Democrat voted against that.
Well, we want, Hillary because
she's cake. She's a joke to run against. It's going to be a laugher.
Dead duck. I mean, what was it? Tim Russell? What did he ask her?
And I'm not against having a woman president.
What did he ask her? A measly question on, what does she think about the state, her own state allowing illegal aliens?
She did such a dance.
To have driver's licenses, and they hated, they created.
But it was not just that issue. On like 5 separate issues, she gives equivocating answers. She's obfuscating, triangulating, whatever you want to call it. She's not giving straight answers. Americans want straight answers. That's why I support John Edwards.
Well, why? Okay, give us the difference between John Edwards and Hillary Clinton, and why you're so strong. Because you really are passionate about John Edwards. You could see that in the clip, especially you have the signs. What is it about John Edwards?
He tells the truth. Hillary Clinton does not.
Well, we know that, but if that's the case,
and you can trust him.
Why does John Edwards use his wife to go out there and kick butt? And
why is Bill Clinton out there acting on behalf of Hillary?
Well, that's true, but I mean, Edwards, Clinton. I mean, they're a duo, but. So Edwards is using his wife.
No, he's not using his wife. They work as a team.
The problem Edward has is that I think he's afraid of the skirt.
Not at all.
Well, if he's not willing to take on the leader of the primary, basically Hillary is the leader of the Democratic primary.
Who took him on in the debate? That's a ridiculous statement. I'm sorry, that's a ridiculous statement.
Okay, the media is telling you.
Yeah, exactly. What to think?
Hillary has the most support.
Well, we know that.
In the straw polls that are being taken right now, Edwards is leading. Edwards wins almost every straw poll, just like Republican straw polls. Ron Paul is leading.
Well, that's probably true, but Ron Paul doesn't have enough real weight in the Republican Party to take over all the states.
Do the polls win an election, or do the voters, if the votes are counted, notwithstanding, is it the voters' voice that we listen to in the end, or is it the voice of?
Well, the voters throughout the primary season of each party picks their nominee at the convention. So whoever does the best until each state's primary. Now, the reason why the Democrats don't want the primaries to be mixed up, like Florida being first and this one being second and that one being, because remember, the Democrats have, the unions have their specific days off during the known primaries. Could you imagine trying to reschedule all the buses to hop around from poll to poll so they can get enough votes to win? It's impossible.
I'm not in favor of getting rid of Iowa and New Hampshire. And why? Just like David Bonnier said, it's personal. I've met John Edwards on several occasions, and I've met some of these other people too. We met Joe Biden and Chris Dodd and some other people. I met some of the other people on in other occasions. And the man gives you a straight answer.
UFO man, yeah.
The man gives you a straight. I know Dennis Kucinich. He knows who I am.
Did you see the UFO too, or just?
I didn't see that UFO, to tell you the truth.
Well, there's one UFO. You probably didn't hear about it in the press today, but Dennis Kucinich had his bill to impeach the vice president up on the floor today, and I doubt that got much coverage in the mainstream.
Well, I mean, they haven't passed what, 10, 12 appropriations to keep this country running. They've cut back one day off of their schedule. They should have just cut all 4 days and maybe work once a week.
Guys, would you consider yourselves Democrats when it comes down to it?
I am a Democrat.
You're a Democrat.
I'm a Democrat.
Even
Solid
though the
solid.
party doesn't.
Even though the party does not
I
represent
think
the
they
people.
consider you a troublemaker Democrat. Am I correct?
And
on that?
what defines a troublemaker?
I don't know, but I'm just saying that's my viewpoint of how they treat you.
The insiders, the establishment that has
They're afraid
an
of you for whatever
They're afraid of
reason.
me because I ask questions that they're not comfortable either answering truthfully, they get in trouble, not answering, they get in trouble, or lying, they're going to get in trouble. So that's the universal history of people who ask questions in this country. They're demonized. They are, they're kooks. We need more kooks. Need more kooks out there like me asking questions.
Basically, he acting as a Republican, trying to bring truth to the Democratic Party apparatus.
I do the same thing to Republicans. Ask Ginny Brown Wade. She'll tell you I put her in some very precarious positions during our forums, but we didn't get wide enough exposure because you need the money to do the advertising to show me talking about homeowners insurance and how much money she takes from finance and insurance industry, $157,000, that kind of thing. Or
the campaigns are so expensive because of media consolidation, which has allowed less competition in and among the media, which has allowed them to drive up advertising rates, making it more expensive.
Didn't McCain-Feingold eliminate all the money in politics? I thought that was the biggest joke of the century.
That's ridiculous.
Well, speaking about money in politics, you mentioned that Ron Paul doesn't have much support amongst the Republican Party leadership. However, he just set a fundraising record on Monday for all presidential candidates. Now, that shows me a tremendous amount of support from the grassroots, because the grassroots of both parties are sick of their leadership. Their leadership has been taking this country straight down the tubes, sending your jobs to China.
And I would agree, the Democratic Party, ever since they got elected in 2006, have basically done nothing for the last
Let me just make a very important point. Let me make a very important.
Name a successful bill that they've put through that
I'm not going to name one for you.
Yeah, but that had something to do with nothing to do with impeaching Bush. That had nothing to do with impeaching
So you think the
Vice
Democrats
President.
have been
preoccupied
with George Bush for the whole time?
They have nothing really to offer. They ran on the Gulf War. We're going to end the Gulf War. Now they're talking about we're not going to end it to 2013. They already stated that they're not going to do nothing.
They're funded by the same
benefactors,
contractors. Same oil companies.
Democrats are funded by oil companies.
Yeah, just like the
Since when?
And
when did the oil companies start funding Democrats? This is a new story to me. I never knew Democrats.
They've been funding both sides for years.
Democrats who are refusing to drill throughout everywhere in this country are being funded by.
Okay, let me just say this. When I was running for Congress, beginning the campaign in 2005, I was invited to the Democratic Newhouse PAC boot camp out in Phoenix, Arizona, which we attended. I had my picture taken with Nancy Pelosi. Were I to have that same opportunity today, I wouldn't be taking it.
What was she like in person?
She was very nice, very cordial. Just
what do you expect?
What do you expect? It's true.
What do you expect?
But the point is, these are corporate Democrats, and Rahm Emanuel, Wasserman Schultz. They're picking people and unpicking people. Rahm Emanuel, I have personal direct information that Rahm Emanuel directly called a fundraiser for another local candidate for Congress and told his fundraiser in Chicago not to be collecting any more money for him because we already have our candidate. Okay, that's a big problem. So they're picking our candidates for us.
Now, does this permeate all the way down to the local level to, let's say,
the same principles are in place. County commission race. That's what they're trying to do. Yeah, exactly. They're trying to, and probably differing degrees in different areas.
Especially areas like this, like the Hillsborough County, Pinellas County area, where the budgets are in the billions. Okay. Yeah.
It's big business.
It's big business.
The Democratic Party apparatus, like the Pelosi's, the Reids, they're trying to realign. The Clintons are trying to realign the Liberal Party apparatus and take it away from the local Democrats, such as yourselves, who are trying to do the best you can for the local community.
No, we're working for the people, not the corporation.
Exactly.
There's a big difference.
The corporations have infiltrated the once pristine Democratic Party apparatus, who would never have taken any kind of money.
All right, we got. Let's just take a viewer. Viewer, you're on the air. What's your name and what's your comment question?
Hi, my name is Don, and I just have a comment to say.
Go ahead, Don.
I like watching your show, first of all.
Thank you.
One thing I have to say is, we talk politics all the time, and I'm very interested in politics. But it doesn't matter what you or I say. It's the corporations. It's what they say.
You're right on, Don.
The corporations are going to pick Hillary Clinton and Mitt Romney. So no matter what we vote or what we say, that's the way our government is run today. That's my only comment I have to say.
What kind of government is that?
Great point.
Yeah, but where do you, I mean, what corporation is as large as the teachers union, the teachers lobby, who
Diebold.
Not even Diebold. What's that mean?
I mean, it's a touchscreen election machine.
Isn't that what the Democrats wanted? Weren't they happy with the butterfly ballot? Diebold had nothing to do with
Talk
that.
about the ballots and talk about who was
Both
behind. They were both behind that?
Mm-hmm.
So then how are they able to rig elections if both parties are behind that?
Because both parties are controlled by the same people.
The responsive.
Listen, that is
Diebold is for what people, if they don't know what that is. Talk about what
Diebold is only one of many manufacturers.
There's three major manufacturers.
They make the ballots, the
Right.
touch screens when you go voting.
The machines.
Right.
Yeah.
The machines in the last several elections have been counting the votes in secret. And there's two methods of that. There's the touch screen computer machine that counts the vote in secret. And then there's the optical scan, where you fill out a paper ballot, but then you run it through an optical scanner, which is nothing but a computer, and once again, counts it in secret. And there's no recount.
Without audits.
And the law is not followed. When you bring a lawsuit to get a recount, the courts don't follow the law. Congress doesn't follow the law. They don't want the people to know that the votes are no longer counted in America. Because if that word got out, people would be so pissed off
Listen,
that they shut this country down.
I have to stop you there, because you're saying that the local people, the volunteers, the tens of thousands of volunteers, just in the state of Florida alone, are scamming the American people on election day. Is that what you're saying?
Whether it be
No, they have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, but
Anthony,
of course they do. Who counts it?
The machine counts it.
Okay.
It's counted in the dark.
The machine counts it, but the county Hillsborough has a representative that manages the vote, the registration, and all that other stuff. You're telling me all those people, the volunteers, and everybody associated with the voting system in 67 of the Florida's counties are stealing the votes for a particular person?
They have no idea. Have you ever seen a calculator ad? When you add 1 + 1 in a calculator, do you see what the calculator does inside?
Well, I don't see what the calculator does inside.
There's receipts
We
that are
all
printed
know
out.
how to
That's
use.
it.
There's not receipts.
Well, we all use. Listen, we all use computers. We all use computers.
No, I mean, at the end of the day.
Now the state of Florida has gone back to the paper ballots. Is that not correct?
But without audits, where ballots are actually hand counted in a random manner at randomly selected precincts, we still have nothing better than the touchscreen voting machines, because we're still trusting the machines and this secret apparatus and process.
And the machine can be programmed, just like any computer can be programmed, to do what it's told. So if it's told to flip 10% of the vote from the Democrat to the Republican, guess what? It does that.
Unless you audit the vote.
So that's assuming the people who run the election board and manage these machines and order these machines allow the manufacturer and the programmers to create the software and to be able to create such a function. Is that what you're saying?
No, because it's not programmed in the local county supervisor of elections office.
Where is it programmed?
It's programmed back by the manufacturer.
I don't think so, because each district programs who's going to be on the ballot. They have to program the whole thing. They may not be able to program the hardware and the software, but all of that has to be programmed. And no one knows who's going to be independent, who's going to be this, who's going to be that. That means whoever programmed it has to calculate every contingency in order to scan this. And there's no government individual that knows how to run a computer in our system. Is that what you're saying, that there's absolutely not one person in our voting system that knows how to use a computer, and this is all just passing us by like we're a bunch of morons? Is that what you're saying? The government is a bunch of morons and this does
Let me ask this.
Come on, that's what you're saying.
You're saying you trust government? So you're a Republican that believes
No,
in bureaucracy, right?
I trust the people who manage our
don't
voting
you believe
system.
in bureaucracy?
No,
You believe
I
that
trust-
And who's
the
managing our voting
employees
system?
I
would do
trust-
their job to make sure
I'm not
the votes
saying
are
that the
counted
government.
accurately, right?
These are not government employees. The volunteers that manage the entire
Volunteers
voting
don't manage
apparatus
it.
are
Did the
not
volunteers
entirely-
program the machine?
No, they
No.
didn't volunteer.
Right.
So when they have, so both Republicans and Democrats who are part of the
Do the election
counting
supervisors
system-
program the machines?
Yeah, but they have
Technicians from the companies program the machines, as they're instructed
checks
to
and
do.
balances throughout the whole system, and it's only since Al Gore
Well, here, let me
if Al
talk
Gore
about
went,
a check and
listen,
balance.
if Al
Let me
Gore
talk
did
about
not
this check and
lose the
balance.
state of Tennessee, we would not be discussing any of this stuff.
Tony, we've heard a considerable amount.
Would we be discussing this if Al Gore won his state? He would have became president. There would not be a
Tony,
discussion.
you realize that after all was said and done, and they actually counted the votes in Florida, that Al Gore won by several thousand votes?
Of course he won, because we all know that there's an error rate of the machines. People don't know how to fill out. When is the
Wait.
People
The
do not
computers
know how
get it
to
right,
fill
or
out.
Are there errors?
No,
I'm not
Yeah,
clear.
blame it on the people. Blame it on the voters.
When the thing tells
So
you
the
to
system of
circle,
voters.
when the thing tells you to circle the entire hole, the oval with a number 2 pencil.
Those weren't the
or
kind of things we were dealing with Al Gore. We're talking about punching holes
That's
in it.
only one county. That's the county of Palm Beach had those punch hole
No.
things.
I
Not
voted on
every county.
a punch card ballot
So
in
what
Pasco
what
County.
county did you vote in?
Pasco County.
So
punch
what
card
was the
ballot.
problem in Pasco County? Are the people in Pasco County smarter than the people
Hey,
in Palm Beach?
Anthony,
One of the richest counties in the state of-
tabulated, Anthony?
Are you saying the county of
How were
Palm
they
Beach
tabulated?
are so
How were they
stupid?
tabulated?
Are you saying that the county of Palm Beach is so stupid compared to the county of Pasco?
No, I'm asking how.
So then
how
why
were
didn't the
punch
county of
cards
Pasco
tabulated?
have any problem? What was the
Anthony,
problem?
why aren't you concerned about the votes not being counted properly?
The votes were counted properly.
That-
It's only
Yeah,
that
'cause your guy won, right?
You cannot.
You believe
No, it
they
has
were
nothing
counted
to do.
properly?
Right.
No,
Your guy was
Your guy
appointed by
won?
the Supreme
No,
Court.
Or
it has
you
nothing to
believe
do
that
with who.
computers
It
are
has
always
nothing to
reliable?
do with who won.
Hackers can't reprogram.
If in a
how
primary
did the
election your
hackers-
guy gets
How did the hackers program the punch holes?
Because the hackers work for the company that programs the winner in the first place.
No.
Okay, two
We're
of the
talking
three
about-
major voting
we're talking
machine
about the problem in
manufacturers were
Palm
major
Beach.
supporters of
No.
Bush.
You're talking about the problem in
Who
Palm
hacked the butterfly ballot? Who hacked it?
Okay,
That was
those
Deborah
punch
LaFleur.
cards,
Yeah.
Okay, are run through a tabulator, which
Yeah, we all
counts
know how
them
that works,
in
yes.
secret and spits out a magical total.
Why did the
Okay?
concept of
Now,
precincts come
George
about in the
Bush,
first
So
place?
then why were we
George Bush
counting-
And anyone who's running for office, they're running for office because they're telling you that you should trust them. Okay? They believe in America. Well, what is America? America stands for the proposition that we're not ruled by a king. The people get to choose their leaders.
So in other
they
words-
have impact on their leadership. However, okay, how do they choose those leaders?
Yeah, but-
By voting. Now, if you believe in what America stands for, why in the world would you take legal action to stop a recount to find out what the will of the voters actually was? Why would you trust
So Mark,
a total spit out by a
let me-
computer
Let me just put it.
based on
So you're
vote
saying,
count was done
so
in
you're
secret?
saying George Bush basically duped the people.
It sure looks like it to me.
So basically,
He's a Republican.
now, if the state of Florida if the state of Florida had so many problems in this voting system and other states, why is it that the problem existed in Tennessee? None of this would have happened if the good people of Tennessee, since they were smarter
Counted the
than
ballots
since
in
they were
public?
smarter than other states, did not vote for the person that Al Gore lived in. That was his state. The people in Tennessee rejected him. I mean, when in the history of the
I
United
think you're
States...
filibustering, Anthony. You're filibustering, Anthony.
The point is...
Anthony, you're filibustering. You've made your point a million times.
We got a viewer. Let's get to on the Bleeping Truth. He's going to beat you into submission. Let's
Exactly.
play that. It's just part of the show.
Well, I can certainly go. I'm trying to be calm and nice.
Viewer, you're on the air. What's your name? What's your comment or question?
Yeah, this is Bert Linthicum, one of your regulars.
Bert, go
Hey,
ahead.
Bert.
Well, when talking about electronic voting, the words of Joseph Stalin come to mind. Those who cast the votes decide nothing. Those who count the votes decide everything. Obviously, one of the master tyrants of all time knew very well that the counting process is where the decision's made.
Thank you, Bert. Thank you very much.
That's right, Bert.
Of course, the counting process. But listen, so we are to believe at this point that these guys should be counting the entire. How many millions of ballots? Is that what you're saying? If you guys were counting it, if you guys were counting the vote, that means the vote would be secure, the vote would be appropriate and positive.
Why did precincts come about as part of the voting apparatus in the first place? Because they were splitting up the totality of the vote into manageable sums that could be counted by hand in the individual localities in public.
On election night.
That's what precincts how they came about. That's what they're for, and that's what
when did we start moving away from that?
In the 60s or what?
Yeah, 60s were when we first started moving away from hand-counted ballots that were marked by hand, counted in public, in the different precincts. Now, that still actually exists in New Hampshire today. Okay, in some counties in New Hampshire, they still do it that way. Now, we started moving away from that. First, they went to the punch cards with the tabulators. Those were counted, of course, in secret. And then the very first outrageous evidence of election fraud is in the 1988 New Hampshire primary, where the polls indicated, the exit polls indicated that George Bush, the first, was going to lose by about 9%. Amazingly, he won by 9%. Now, the statistical probability of that occurring is like 1 in 200 million.
So basically,
so that's a
you're saying,
indicator.
But
that
to you guys,
the primary
to you, Mark,
in New Hampshire in 1988.
To you, the exit polls, which are
exit polls is how they test voting equipment. That is how they test voting equipment around the world.
Exit polls, which are phantom numbers, that there are no ballots.
No, there's nothing phantom about it. It's statistics. That's how business is run in this country and around the world, using statistics to analyze and project from there.
So what you guys saying? When Ronald Reagan won 49 states, that whole ballot system was scammed entirely.
No, I think people were ready for a change. They had been
I'm glad.
We need a.
I thought 49 states should have been
fundamentally, you need a close election in order to cheat. Okay. Because you can't cheat by, irrational sums here. That's why the Republicans want Hillary as their opposition, because they know at the worst they're going to have a close election. Might be a blowout. I'd say it's going to be a blowout the other way.
They're counting on Hillary's negative factor, basically the people that hate Hillary to come
You're going to bring out
anyone.
Republicans and conservative-oriented voters who haven't voted in 10 years to vote against her. That's the principal argument against Hillary. The argument for John Edwards is completely contrary to that, in that he brings out people to vote for him that ordinarily would not vote for a Democrat.
You're making the assumption that people come out to vote against Hillary. Can you give us any reason why
listen
anybody...
Listen to Rush Limbaugh for a minute.
What is
the Hillary Stop Hillary Express on Hannity? For crying out loud. You gotta be kidding me. You're
talking about Republicans are going to come out and vote against Hillary like they have no one to vote for. What purpose would anybody
they want to make
have?
Sure they get their shot in. That's what that's about.
But what are the pluses of Hillary being the president? What has she done?
I don't have any.
Exactly.
I don't have any.
So your statement of saying that people are going to come out to vote against her is more like people coming out and voting for the other person, because what does she have to offer but nothing?
Right. She has nothing to offer. That's what I'm saying.
So we're
she has no experience. What is a first lady? What is a first lady? What's her experience?
Exactly.
Reading people.
Wait a second. That's his point. Okay. They want Hillary to be the Democratic candidate because then a lot of people that don't like Clinton, don't believe in Hillary, are going to stay away. The Republican Party, the money that wants Republican candidates wants Giuliani or Romney, because then they know a lot of people are going to stay away.
Status quo is what the.
Do you guys think Ron Paul would have a shot?
I think Ron Paul definitely has a shot. I mean, right now, if you look at straw polls that are being done, Ron Paul's winning them. He's beaten Giuliani and Romney 2-1. Okay. Now that's not being talked about in the mainstream media, because why? The mainstream corporate media are in bed with the people that are controlling the Florida Democratic Party, the National Democratic Party.
This is about the establishment. There's really one party in this country. It's the money party.
Right.
And in Florida, that money party is divided up in Party A, the Republicans, and Party B, the Democrats. If you can't run, if you can't run as a Republican,
so basically, it's the unions against the people.
Status quo. No. It's the corporations.
The unions against the people.
Controlling outcomes.
How is the corporations? Explain me. I mean, most corporations. How many corporations have?
Like Media General.
Corporation is a global term.
Yeah, but corporations are all individual companies of people. You got unions where entire cities are pretty much employed by one entity.
The Democrats have the unions.
Big deal. So there's a little bit of a counter.
We're talking. You're talking. The unions are the party bosses. You got the.
Anthony.
I'd just like to say that the union workforce in America has declined dramatically from its peak in the early 70s.
Even in the 90s, it's down substantially.
It's not the unions controlling our
government. Yeah, but 10 millions of people with union dues for specific organizations.
John, thank you for coming on. I'm sorry that you got shoved out of that soiree or whatever in Orlando.
It's just demonstrative of where the Florida Democratic Party is.
You're bringing the party in there.
We're there to elect Democrats.
Have a good
yeah,
time.
but you didn't expect anything different, did you?
Democrats. There was a going to get booted.
I think at first
talking about listen, Democrats. I mean, you're running as a Republican.
If I behave myself aggressively, I'm not going to get thrown out. But these people don't want any dissent.
He kept his cool.
Orwellian term, unity dinner, unity convention, Orwellian terms. We all know what that means, right, folks? And it's not about that. It's about stifling dissent. Don't want anybody being asked.
That's the motto of the Democratic Party.
So if anyone wants to have a good time at a Democratic delegation, take John with you. And bring a camera.
Bring a camera. You'll get
I want to
press.
thank you guys for coming on. When we come back, we have an extra guest. We're going to have Victor DeMaio and Tony Watley on. And since we have 3 chairs, we'll have a threesome with Tony Kovic, and we'll be right back.